Now, can we talk about non-resident taxes and the 25% withholding tax as a non-resident and what that looks like for foreign sellers?
Yeah, for sure. So, as most tax implications, it can be very confusing and
Mhm.
somewhat complicated.
And
Um,
expensive.
yes, as well. Okay, so the typical rule is if you are a non-resident, and this is a non-resident for tax purposes, not immigration purposes. So, for example, if you are a Canadian citizen, but you are working in Asia, let's say, and you have been for the last 3 years, you're obviously filing your taxes as a non-resident, even though you're a Canadian citizen.
Mhm.
Now you have a property here that you want to sell, and you're still, living, working in Hong Kong. You would be selling that property as a non-resident.
Mhm.
So, because you're a non-resident, you're required to, well, actually, I, as a lawyer, a closing lawyer, am required to withhold 25% of the sale price, withhold it and remit it to CRA on your behalf um, on closing. So this is an instant with adjustment on closing. And the reason that CRA does this is they want to make sure that they collect the taxes that they're owed. So once you file your tax return at the end of the year, that amount will get adjusted. But they want to make sure upfront they get the amount of taxes they're owed because you're a non-resident for tax purposes now. The money can leave the country. So that can end up being a lot of money. If
CRA is always trying to get their money, huh? No matter
oh
what, one time they're not,
yeah,
they're not
they
waiting for us.
get money. They're very adamant about that, giving it back. As we know, they're not as
Yeah,
diligent on
giving
that.
back, you have to wait years for that.
Right, right. So, I mean, it can be a significant amount of money. Like it's 25,000 on every 100,000,
Yeah.
right? So what we do is, and the government does allow this, is we file for what's called a clearance certificate.
Okay.
That certificate will show how much actual capital gains there was on this particular
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if I have that certificate that shows me the capital gains, then I only have to withhold 20% on that capital gains amount as opposed to the purchase price.
That's interesting. I didn't even know that.
Right.
That's a fun.
So, yeah. So, most people don't know this. Some lawyers don't even know this.
Yeah.
Um, so, that's something, we always insist on doing when we have a non resident client. The only caveat is it does require more time. It will take about 6 to 8 weeks to get this clearance certificate. So you're looking at extending or having a longer closing. But the benefit is I'm not withholding or I'm not remitting to CRA 25% of your purchase price. It might just be 25% of the capital gains, which could be, if your capital gains 100,000, just
Yeah.
25% on that.
Okay, that's reasonable.
Yeah.
So that's actually really good information to know, especially if you're a foreign seller, right? Because,
Right.
well, not even foreign seller, non-resident, because a lot of people decide to go work in the U.S. or work in whatever a different country and don't realize that this is something that they will have to pay, and this goes into selling.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully they're up to date on their taxes because also to get this clearance certificate, they're going to want to see that you're up to date on your taxes. But yeah, it's actually a fairly common situation.
To sell, you need to be up to date with your taxes.
Well, yes, especially if you're a non-resident, because
Yeah,
we'll need this
yeah.
clearance certificate.
Now,